Hey everyone, and welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit 1988's Mystic Pizza. So, jump aboard the SS Nympho. The show's about to begin.
Welcome everyone to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And we're talking about Mystic Pizza, one of my all-time favorite movies of all time.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Christina, this is so messed up. How do we not know each other's favorite? I feel like you would know mine. I think you say it and I'm surprised.
You know, and I might throw that around a lot, but it's like, I think about this movie and it's like, it's like one of those movies I watched like a million times.
Really?
Yeah, I used to love this movie. Loved it.
When was the last... Oh, no, yeah, we're jumping all around already. But, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we're all... I mean,
when was the last time you watched it?
The last time I watched it was years ago.
Well, besides for the rewatch.
Of course. Yeah. Probably 30 years ago.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
But I guess when it was on VHS, you watched it a million times. Or...
HBO, VHS, all that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, we've talked about this before. I feel like this generation really has a disservice. Like, I feel like, say, 30 years from now, I think it would be hard-pressed to find, like, a podcast that would be able to revisit 30 years ago. Because I think one of the advantages that we had growing up was we had the HBOs playing in the background and the Showtimes or whatever. And you did channel surfing. And you'd often find a movie in the middle of it. Yep. You'd be like, oh, cool, we'll watch this. And I think, like... They don't have that now. You have to choose what movie you want to watch before you watch it.
True.
It's kind of stinks. It really does. It really kind of
stinks. The element of surprise is gone for sure.
Yes.
But what's funny you say that though, and I know we're sort of jumping. We can go to then in a minute.
Sure.
But I watched Mystic Pizza like week ago, and on Pluto. And Pluto has exactly what you're talking about.
Pluto,
where the channels, you can watch channels.
That's right.
And all that. So
Pluto's a good
Pluto's pretty good. It has ads, but what are you going to do?
But that's like, it's right back in the 80s with the ads, right?
So we begin, as we always do. Christina, I'm dying to hear, because you said it was one of your favorite movies of all time. So, Mystic Pizza, Christina, your first takes back then.
Oh, I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I really loved this movie. I loved each of the storylines.
Yeah.
I thought what I liked about it was kind of light. You know, it's just like an easy watch. It's light and airy. There's a couple of little heavy-ish storylines, but I wouldn't even call it heavy, but just more like drama.
Yeah.
You know, some drama in each of their relationships. I loved the girls' friendships. I loved, even like the sister friendships. I just really, really enjoyed the easy watch. And because of that, it was easy to like rewatch over and over again. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like I love the characters, the actors, believe it or not, all of the actors back then. But yeah, I mean, I just really thought it was a fun. I liked the ending. Like it was just like a nice, easy watch.
Yeah.
What about you?
So my take is back then is a little different. Mm-hmm. So I remember like I was all about like Premiere Magazine and I loved movies and all that. And I worked at a video store. And I remember when this came out on VHS, I remember it being like a serious reserve situation. Like people reserved this movie, and I think part of it was New England because everyone knew this is the movie. This is the little indie movie that could. It was filmed in Connecticut. It was filmed in Rhode Island, parts in whatever. And Mystic Pizza is a real place, but people, because it was indie, people didn't rush to see this. This movie was made for $6 million. It only made $14 million. But the sort of I don't want to say lore, but like the draw of this movie was that it was like this indie movie that was filmed right in New England, and like what a big deal for New Englanders.
That was like
but I had to wait. My point is, I had to wait until some of the hype died down to rent it. I didn't see it at the movie theater, and when I rented it, I remember being like so excited, but ultimately thinking like, oh, this is cute. It's a light movie.
It's very light.
But I remember watching Siskel and Ebert, and we're watching the reviews being like, what you're about to see, like, this is the crop of actors that are really going to be thrust into movie stardom with this movie. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, they were kind of right. Julia Roberts.
Obviously.
Lili Taylor. I mean, Annabeth Gish had some... No. Annabeth Gish?
I think it's Annabeth.
Jesus.
But, yeah, we'll just call it.
Anyway, yeah, so all that to say, and then Vincent D'Onofrio.
So what's funny, yes. Oh, yes, for sure. But what's funny about Annabeth, or whatever her name is, I think she was even pegged as more of a star in this movie when it came out.
Yeah.
She was in...
Annabeth, you're right. Annabeth Gish.
A terrible name, by the way.
Oh my God.
It's a terrible name.
What do you mean? That's awful to say.
Annabeth Gish. You can't even say it. It's such a unique name, and we still didn't remember it. What's that telling you? Annabeth Gish. It feels like you're stuttering.
My God, Christina, that is the meanest thing you've ever said on this podcast.
Oh, come on, it's true. It's
God.
tough on the
That's
tongue.
Her real name, by the way.
So here's what I'm saying here. Okay, right. I applaud her for keeping her name.
Okay,
but it's not your typical Hollywood name. I think it's really tough. But anyway, so she was in like Hiding Out.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And she was in Shag.
Yep.
So I think that she was more of like a star at this point in time than Julia Roberts or Lili Taylor at that point.
Are those movies after Mystic?
I thought they were.
No, you're saying before, though. You're saying
I think
she
they
was
were
kind
before.
of a star.
I thought I'll have to look it up.
What's funny, I agree, because what's funny is I remember Annabeth Gish being like she's the star of this movie.
Yes.
It was painted that way. I remember that same feeling.
Yes.
Being like, oh no, she's like sort of the lead and the other ones are just sort of circling around her.
Yes.
But it's funny, I actually have, so really quick, I have hung out with Lili Taylor once in the day when I lived in New York. We went to...
Wait a minute. Before you say this story, I think you should save this story for Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Let's have it, let's let it be, because we have, on Patreon, we have our selfie stories.
Selfie stories, yeah.
This sounds like a good selfie story.
It is a good selfie story. All right, we'll do that. Okay. Sorry, everyone. Go to Patreon. And also, really quick, on Patreon, you're going to find our worst date ever stories. That's awesome. I'm excited. Yeah.
This is good. Patreon.com/oldremains.
Yes. So, so right off the bat, we're going to jump into now. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. The opening credits are really bad. So, the opening credits are these photoshopped...
Are you kidding? It's my first note. It is my first note, Brian.
The opening credits are atrocious. They're so it's all basically for the unfamiliar. So it starts with these old photographs of this friendship
of these three
when
friends.
They were kids. They're kids, but there's one moment, and I wonder if you have exactly the same note. There's one moment where the Photoshop is so bad. Like, Julia Roberts, so when you watch it, it's on, like I said, it's on Pluto. So when you watch the opening credits, there's one shot where Julia Roberts is wearing a pink sweater. Mm-hmm. And it is so clear, like, someone just, like, taped her head on this picture.
It's like
her head is, her head is twice the size of the other person's head. And
it's so bad.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this was not digitally photoshopped either. This was like someone took scissors to these photos.
I mean, it explains the $6 million budget.
My very first note, terrible photoshopped pictures.
Awful.
It's like laughable.
I would laugh out loud a couple times at them. It's unfortunate, but oh my god, my next note is -2. So I want to be clear, like, I'm not going to say it. So Kat and Daisy are sisters, Annabeth Gish and Julia Roberts. God forgive me, I'm dying to hear your take on this movie. So I didn't feel like they were sisters, and I didn't feel like they looked like sisters. I actually felt that Jojo and Daisy looked much more like sisters.
Yes. And again, I think it's because I think the casting was like, okay, let's put Annabeth Gish in here. Yeah. And then who else? Like, I think she was probably cast first.
In that role
in that role. I agree. They did not look like sisters. And towards the end, I think they came together more. But they were just such opposite characters. Like, almost too opposite. Like, she... was too innocent. Yes, the sisters. She was too innocent. And Julia Roberts was too slutty. So it was almost like... And Julia Roberts was the older one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. which didn't make sense. Like, you would think that the older one would be the one that would be the smarter, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the eldest of 5 kids. Thank you.
Well, there are exceptions. But you know what I mean? Like, you get a little bit more guidance, I think, as an oldest child.
100%. You're taking, and you are really pointing out something, a different note I have, which is similar. Kat, as a character, she's going to Yale.
Yes.
So here's what blows my mind. She doesn't know what a condom is. And then they're laughing, and Julia Roberts at her Daisy actually says, "The guy wears them," and they start giggling, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, This is a bit of a stretch."
All right, I do think that that scene always bothered me.
It's 1988,
but I also think that we never talked about condoms like we could talk about condoms now. Like, it was more of a dirty word. Talking about condoms.
Okay.
I'm telling you, like,
I know, fine. I'm not.
As someone that's in that kind of era, you knew what they were, but like, you would never go into a store and buy one.
Okay.
Like, that would be crazy, especially a girl.
Yeah.
Like, forget it.
So what did you do? Because you just found
I
them
just
on the
didn't
street?
use anything. No, I'm just kidding. Brian, I saved myself till marriage. You know that.
I know. I'm sorry.
So, but yeah. Yeah, no, you had to find like some bum on the street and rifle through his wallet. But so I could kind of bought it a little bit. Like, it is too naive. Plus, sometimes people are way too book smart, right? Book smart and not common sense smart, right? Yeah. So I think they played on that a little bit. And then when she said the guy wears it, I think that was supposed to be a joke. Like, I don't think she was saying that she didn't really think that.
Oh, I don't know.
Kat knew that the guy wore it.
I don't know.
That's how I took it.
Because to me, it looked like Kat looked at the box and was like, had like raised her eyebrows, like wasn't sure what they were. And then she said, "The guy wears them," and they both look at each other and start laughing. There's a lot of that laughing stuff in this movie.
Well, Julia Roberts loves to laugh.
Oh my God, you are evil. This is your favorite movie. Movies?
Look, at the very beginning I said I liked all of the actresses. For people who don't know, I have not had rave reviews about Julia Roberts in the past. We did, what did we do? Steel Magnolias, we did
Pretty Woman.
Is that the only two that we've done? I feel like we did another one.
We did another Julia.
What else did we do?
Oh, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, My Best Friend's Wedding, yeah. So usually I have quite a critique when it comes to Julia.
I know.
But this one, I didn't mind.
Yeah.
This is before she was famous.
I have a very strong note about Julia's performance. I got very real, and this is high praise. Anyone who is a listener or who is my friend knows. I got Cher vibes. I got Cher in Mask. Julia Roberts, I would not be surprised if she was inspired by Cher in Mask.
I could totally see that.
There's a sassiness. There's a way she like works her hair. There's a dismissiveness when she's being criticized, and the facial expressions, the mannerisms, and like
I could totally see that.
Cher inspired to me.
Very nice. I like that note. That's a great note. I did say Daisy is obnoxious. I did say she was obnoxious.
With what?
Just at the very beginning, and I get it. Like, at the beginning of movies, you put it right out there. Like, who is this person? And she was very much like too cool for school. Like, oh, kitty cat never does anything wrong.
Oh, they have to have that dialogue.
Oh, Daisy's the bad girl. Like, okay, enough. Enough. You didn't have to spell it out. Like, we can see you're the bad girl.
Yeah. I struggled. I don't like when movies do that.
I didn't like that
and this movie really lays it on thick with that stuff. Like, you're the good
mostly
girl.
Mostly with her.
Yeah. It's like, you're the good girl. Oh, that's right, Kat. You did Little Miss Princess, and you think this guy's going to fall. It's like they always have to explain who the characters are.
Yes.
When it's just not necessary.
Oh, how'd we go wrong with Daisy? Like, she actually says it. Like, okay, enough.
Okay, so I'm going to say something really positive and loving right now.
Okay.
So, more than any other movie, and I mean this, since we started watching this since we started switching to COVID times.
Yeah.
This movie made me miss, like, life. This movie made me miss people. This movie made me miss diners and dives and bars and pool tables and
there's so much of that.
So
in
much
this movie.
social. It feels like a real community.
Yes,
and it feels like these are real locations. The country club and like being on a boat and like the giggling, drinking beer in a backyard and like hanging out with friends.
Even the bar.
This
pool.
movie movie does a great job of establishing community.
Yes,
and that small town feel, people's jobs. And just like the banter when you're sitting at at a bar talking to friends.
Yep.
Oh my God, this movie made me miss that stuff so much, because here we are, still in the pandemic, still restrictions, still everything.
Right.
And more than any movie, I think, for me personally, this movie made me miss that.
I could totally see that. Absolutely. Yeah. And because they do a great job of just, right, it's okay. Here, let me throw you a tissue from the other side of the room. But yeah, no, you're right. You just have that community feeling. I think that's a perfect word.
They do a really good job with this, for sure. Yeah.
You get that, like, people are just having fun in the bar, just like chilling, and you kind of know everybody.
It also feels like a real job.
It feels like
they're hustling in that pizza
Oh my gosh.
place. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so much so that when the rich guy comes in, he like sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
It's like everybody knows there's somebody new here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree 100%.
In terms of the friendship, one thing that was strange to me, the nympho boat, when they're going by, her friends are like laughing at her. She's upset, and Kat and Daisy are laughing. And I'm like, that feels weird to me.
Yes. Although what's funny is when I remember watching it years ago, I felt like Lily, I'm sorry, her name is Jojo. Jojo was overreacting back then. I'm like, oh, she's really overreacting because it's just a stupid song.
About the boat?
And but watching it this time around, I totally got it. And I was like, oh. And I felt the same way, like, oh my God, her friends are laughing at this.
This is slut shaming.
Yes.
In a major way.
So very different feel this time around.
Middle-aged lens.
Yeah, very different middle-aged lens for sure.
Yeah, I found that to be super rude. Obviously I remember it happening, but this time around I was like, oh God, it's really fucking rude.
Yeah.
Let's see. One thing that stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, that's not cool. When Kat goes to the babysitting job opportunity, and the daughter says, read. Oh. And then the father, I actually thought the father was going to come along and say, now, be nice to Kat. And instead he goes,
you heard her.
Yeah, read.
You heard her. That's what he said.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
no,
but
then he says, read. He says it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you heard her. Read. I'm like, teacher.
Yeah, it was supposed to be cute, but it really
was not cute.
I didn't find her to be that cute anyway, to be honest, the kid.
Nope.
Yeah,
no.
I just didn't really feel like she was that lovable.
But it's also like, teach your kids some manners.
Yeah.
Read. How about please? Say please. Or let Kat breathe for 5 seconds. She doesn't have the job yet.
Read, please.
Yeah. Can you please read me the story?
More, please? Like, anything would have been a little bit nicer than that.
And the father just encouraged the rude behavior.
Yeah.
In his judgment.
I noticed that Daisy, as, outwardly as she is, right? She's a woman on the town. She got drunk after one sip of beer. One sip, and she was drunk.
Really?
Yeah. It was in the, I don't know what scene it was.
Was it the country club?
Yeah, it was probably the country club part, yeah.
So this is something that I think we have to talk about.
Want to talk about Charlie?
No, the giggling. So, I have a little note here, if I can find it. But basically, there's a lot of giggling. They are giggling with the condoms.
Mm-hmm.
They're giggling about doing the jitterbug.
Yeah.
They are giggling when they sing Respect in the truck. They're just an awful lot of giggling.
Lots of laughing, lots of giggling.
Even at the nympho boat, for that matter. And then at the end, everything's fine. They're having a perfectly lovely time. And then Jojo says, but guys, wait. What is in Leona's pizza? And they giggle, and the camera just pans up and it ends. there's so much giggling.
It's too forced.
Oh, it's a lot. It's very forced. If they were saying funny things,
right.
I'd be right there with them. It's my favorite thing. My favorite thing in sitcoms is when characters make each other laugh. And they're laughing all the time, but I'm like, I missed it.
Yeah, it was like the director was like, okay, you guys are friends, laugh all the time.
Yeah, we need B-roll for the movie trailer. We want lots of laughing.
Lots of laughing.
But yeah, that was just a note I have that is pretty strong throughout this movie, is like just this forced laughing fun. I'd also question if they would go to a country club for a fun time. That's weird.
Yeah, it seemed like something that they would do though. Like just, I mean, I guess when I was like in high school, you just kind of go places that no one's gonna
Burger King parking lot.
No one's gonna bother you. Yeah, but I mean, that's the worst place.
No, that was the big spot from
but
the
then
high
the
my high
police
school
officers
crew.
always drive by there.
True,
like if it's the country
for
club,
drinking. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, different.
Oh, yeah, it's a little hidden.
Yeah, you have to be hidden. So let's talk about Charlie though.
Let's talk about him.
I never warmed up to Charlie.
Then or now?
Then and now.
Okay.
Like, I guess now a little bit better. But even back then, it was like, I just always felt like he was kind of a dick. The first scene, he's on a date.
Yeah.
And he's hitting on Daisy.
Yeah.
So are we supposed to forgive that because it's Daisy?
I know.
He was arrogant and just way too uppity for me. I never trusted him throughout the whole entire movie. I never trusted that he was like a genuine person that really liked Daisy. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't see it. I felt like maybe not enough character development for him or something, where I just never warmed up to him. And then even showing up at her house. Like, did you find that really
super weird?
Like, all of a sudden...
Fatal Attraction.
I said, Charlie stalks her and just shows up.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Talking to his mom,
who clearly does not like him.
I love these old houses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He mispronounces her name and everything. But, like, how did he find her? Like, he must have had to have done some research to find out. Like, he never even asked her name, right? When he met her? In the bar? I don't think he even knew her name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
So he would have to have done some digging and find out her address and then show up. How cocky is that? Assuming that she would want to see him.
To me, though, my issue with Charlie is, the things you're complaining about, to me, that was the draw for Daisy. Like, because he was so, like, uppity and rich and different than the other people. Like, he was, like, and just obnoxious. And I think she was like, who is this guy? Is he as amazing as he thinks he is?
Yeah.
And, and I think maybe it was a challenge for her to think, is she good enough for him? Mm-hmm. When really it's like, is he good enough for her? Like, one of my favorite moments is when she's like, the only asshole in that dinner was you.
Yes, I love that.
When he ever pulled the tablecloth, I was like, that's a bit
God.
much.
Yeah, how
who would do
embarrassing.
that? How childish.
Yeah, and Matt Damon in his first role.
Yes, that's right.
So funny as like the brother of
the
Charlie.
Green stuff.
But yeah, that scene is so uncomfortable. The whole scene was so uncomfortable.
I didn't even think they were that rude. Like, I think they just didn't know this girl. And it's like, if someone's talking about being a waitress and you can relate and said, well, I used to be a waitress.
Yeah.
Is that wrong? I don't know. Charlie took it everything 10 times worse.
Yes.
And what I love though, because you can see that happening. Like, she knows the help or whatever it is.
Yes.
So she knows the server, and she's like, "Oh, I know you, whatever." And then she's trying to downplay it, but I just loved how she's like, "The only asshole in there was you."
Right. They would just do being themselves.
That's right.
They would just be in themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that scene too because it was so uncomfortable.
Well, also Charlie's right now, he's just coasting along. Mm-hmm. He has no plan, no goals. He's taking time off. He's kind of a loser. Right. And so quite frankly, I actually thought it was okay, the little bit of judgment he was getting. It's like, okay, you're bringing this girl. You are driving around in a Porsche. Now you're driving around in a different car. Now you're just like doing nothing. Now you bring home this girl.
Yep.
Eating our food. Kicking back, you had an evening at our other house, and it's like, and now we're just supposed to accept everything while you're spending our money. Like, right. I think it's okay that he has to answer for things. I don't think he should have to answer things in front of a group of people.
Right.
But, yeah.
But I thought the father's reaction of, like, defending himself, I could totally relate with. It's like, don't sit here and judge me when you're sitting here, you don't have a job. You know, it was more like the father was really more or less defending himself and being like,
oh, that's right. I did forget about that part. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Back then, it was like the father was the evil man.
One.
But this time around, I'm watching. I'm like, no, I would probably do similar things. Like he's judging me, and he's the one that should be judged.
Right.
You know, like don't give me that crap. Like everyone at this table is like a hard worker, and you're like living the life of leisure here.
That's right.
So yeah. I related, again, a middle-aged lens. I totally related to his father in that aspect. He wasn't like the evil dad that he used to be, right?
This is an ongoing realization with this, right? Because we watch so many movies, and it's like we find ourselves like on rewatch being like, the parent was kind of right on that.
Or, he had a point.
Yeah, Porky's had a point there.
Yeah. Poor Porky.
Porky had a point. Oh, God. So can we backtrack a little bit with Charlie, because we're talking about him now, but, oh my God, Daisy overreacted a little bit.
Oh my
God. Dumping all that stuff in the fish guts and stuff in his Porsche.
And oh my
gosh.
God.
Quite the reaction.
Yeah.
And he's like...
And I guess we're supposed to think she was drunk, right? Because she had that sip.
Oh.
I think that's why she kind of overreacted, but that's still not acceptable. Like
to me, it was like she was hyped up because she was embarrassed in front of her friends.
Probably
because he lied to her. And I wrote, it doesn't come up too frequently on this podcast, but like that whole situation, like it would be a non-starter with cell phones. Because he's like, yes. I called you, you were out. Like, I wonder how many relationships cell phones have saved over the decades.
Right.
But then I just wrote, no way. He hugs her and makes a joke. I feel like, to me, that is the biggest red flag. If I just went on one date with someone, and they vandalize my car.
Oh my God,
that's a deal breaker.
No, yeah,
that's a deal breaker, ladies. Yeah, I mean and then he
although you're talking to a stalker, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. Maybe they deserve each other.
But I thought
but yes, that was very, very crazy.
Like, Charlie, run.
I did like Daisy when she knew that Kat's married employer, babysitter, father, whatever, she knew that he was making the moves on her. And Kat was very not really understanding that.
Yeah.
She's like, looks to me like he's making the moves on you.
But
so I did like that part of it, but...
The lamest slap in the face I've ever seen on film.
Oh,
when
God.
Julia Roberts slaps her, when Daisy slaps Kat, I was like, wait, you're sisters. Like, my sister and I used to have slapping... Do you ever do this? Do you ever have slapping contests?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
My sister and I used to have slapping contests. Like, let's see who can slap the hardest, or see who can slap the lightest. And it's like a round. You go rounds. Yeah. And it's like, you just slap each other in the face anyway. My sister once threw her telephone at me. I mean, like, if this is like... And we were teenagers. We were probably as old as these kids. But, like, I just feel like, I'm like, really, you're going to slap your sister in the face? And that is a really weak slap.
Yes. Yeah, it really was.
Jojo's speech. If he loved me, he'd wait. But if I loved him, I'd marry him. Mm-hmm. That was a really nice acting moment for Lily.
She was great. So she was the highlight of this whole movie for me this time around.
Oh, nice.
I loved when Jojo was around. She has this like lightness. Even in the drama, she still has such a lightness to her. Mm-hmm. And she's just... so self-aware. Like, we were talking about that with some other movie that we just recently revisited. I think it was Stand By Me last week. Mm-hmm. But she has a great self-awareness about herself. She's like, I'm just not ready, and I love him, and I don't want to end up like this person, and da-da-da, and I don't want this to be my future.
Here's why. Well, here's why. And you just called this out, and I didn't even have that. No, but it's a really good point. Kat never stops as someone going to Yale.
Right.
She never stops to analyze what she's feeling, what he might be feeling, what's going on here. Daisy's the same way. Very impulsive, like never stops. So, then you have Jojo who analyzes everything.
Yep.
And it's effective. So it's a really interesting way. You have 3 different ways of handling relationship problems, you know?
Yep. It's a nice little balance.
I did like Vincent D'Onofrio. I never found him to be a attractive person, but I think he's cute in this. And I do not remember this line of dialogue when he ever says, "All you love is my dick."
Oh, I remember that.
I remember that.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Did not remember
that. Was like a big moment. That was a really big moment. I remember that very well. I I did think it was a nice storyline kind of switch where the guy wants to get married, but the girl only wants to have sex. I mean, you never see that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe more now, but especially back in the 80s, you never saw that.
No.
But I loved it. It was so refreshing. And I just love that. I loved JoJo's, like, breakdown. Like, that slow build. Mm-hmm. Like, she comes in, she's like, yeah, well, she comes into the pizza place.
Well, she lies.
And she says, yeah, well, I just broke with them. Yeah, I wasn't really working. And then she's, like, building it up. And she's like, Leona, you will be giving me this recipe someday, right? Like, it's like so good. She's so good in this.
Yeah.
Lili Taylor is so good in this.
Well, in the nervousness, like with her, like resetting stuff up on the tables.
Yeah.
Because she's lying. And now she's like, oh my God, I lied to my friends. And I lied to my boss. And I'm lying. And she's like...
And I love that everybody kind of knows, too.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's watching her like, oh, something's going on here.
Also knows that she really needs their support.
Yes.
That she needs to cry. She needs to get this off of her. But she's lied, and now what does she do? And I think it's just a really nice scene for her. So only because I want to move on from these couple pages of notes, but there's just couple things. The more so in the beginning, I kind of lost track of it as the movie went on. But again, it's like Lethal Weapon. The saxophone, heavy. God. Do you have that too?
What does it say? It says, loud saxophone music. Must be the 80s.
Yeah. Cue saxophone. Like, I just wrote, wow, this situation did so not need a saxophone.
Yeah. But so much saxophone.
It's so much saxophone. Yeah. It's really bizarre.
And of course the running... Huey Lewis to jump out of the bushes.
Or what is it? Clarence... Bruce Springsteen. Leona will not tell them what's in the pizza. That is the running joke there.
I love that. And she's great. I love her. She's
I loved
a great
her.
character, too.
Oh, my God. Why do I even attempt? I never should even attempt to name these people.
Right. She was on 3 and a Half Men.
Yes,
2
for
and a
like
Half
12,
Men.
like 11 years, I think
for a
she's
long
on
time.
the show, yeah.
But yeah, she's really good in this. Such a nice, like a grounding mother figure. Like, I mean, I know Kat and Daisy have the mom, but she's not super grounded. She's, like, very busy. They never talk about the dad.
No.
We don't know what happened with the dad.
True.
It's just not there. But you can tell she's like a single mom, kind of working constantly and trying to be there. But like Leona, I think, is like stable mom.
And quite realistic, because with Kat, it's a loan.
Yeah.
She's very clear. She's like, you can pay me back.
Yes.
You'll pay it back, whatever. And I think that was really nice. But we have to talk about, right before that, why did Kat rip up that check? She earned that money. Yeah, fine. It ended, unfortunately. She ripped up the check. She worked.
Well, I don't think it was just a check for being... So I think you're misunderstanding what the check was.
What was the check?
And I will tell you, way back when, I would be like, why'd she rip up the check?
Yeah.
This check was not for paying for services, for babysitting services.
It was a gift?
This was something else. I think it was because it was to ease his conscience, because he was a dick, but because he says a little something to go towards Yale.
Okay.
So I think it was like, whatever, $1,000 or something
almost
else.
like hush money in a way.
Absolutely hush money. It's to ease his conscience and all that. And that's why she ripped it up, which I get now.
Yeah.
Back then I was like, I totally would have cashed that check.
Yeah, I was a little conflicted.
But I get it. It's like the morality. It's the, he's buying me. And, like that whole, like, morality thing.
I just feel like she's in a small town working at a pizza shop. She needs all the money she got. She wasn't doing it for them. She wasn't in an affair with him for the money. But so it's like, I was like, you know what? He like ruined my heart. I'm going to take this money.
Yeah. That's how I felt back then. I feel a little bit differently now because I have morals. But some of us have not grown into that, so it's fine.
I do love when Jojo is freaking out to Kat when the wife shows up.
Oh,
she goes, I almost pooped my pants,
Oh my gosh. She's so good. This whole, every scene she's in, she's hilarious.
I love that line. I almost pooped my pants.
She's so overreacting when they come home. How's your mom? Is your mom? Did you get the medicine time? Did you get the medicine time? But like, not overreacting like her, not Lili Taylor overreacting, but like, Jojo being so nervous.
Well,
and hello, Nikki Travers. Was she like 50?
Who was Nikki Travers? The wife?
The wife. She looked so old.
So much older than
him. She looked old then, and she looked old now. She looked so old.
Yeah, I agree. Kat has no chill. Her face, she might as well, I mean, it's like, pick your jaw off the floor, girl. Her jaw,
God.
she looked like a freaking, like, jack-o'-lantern. Like, her jaw was, like, on the floor. Her eyes were bugging out. And it's like, you have no chill. Like, do you have any idea what your face looks like right now? You are giving it all away.
And she doesn't say a word.
Nope.
I wrote here, Kat, say
hello,
something.
Nice to meet you.
Say something. Like, talk about making it obvious.
She knew he was married.
Yeah, it's not, oh my God.
Should be that shocking.
She knew he was married.
Yeah.
She knew. He never once said they're getting divorced.
Yeah.
The child said something like, "We're not getting divorced," and she's like, "No, of course not." So what does that mean? Now she thinks they are getting divorced.
I know.
Yeah, the fact that she was surprised that he was married. Like, it would be one thing if he didn't say she was married. He was married.
Right.
That's a whole other situation.
Oh, yeah.
That would warrant the shocked look on her face.
Probably would have puked on
and
the
yes,
floor.
it was embarrassing and everything else. But when she was having sex with him, she knew he was married. It's not like she didn't know that. So why is it all of a sudden she's like...
That scene blew me away. And I did love Jojo, though, in that, to your point.
And then it was like, I also wrote, like, what did she expect him to do?
She's fucking going to Yale. She can't be that naive. Come on.
Right.
But
like,
expect
did
more.
she really expect her to be like, oh, this is my girlfriend? Oh, I want a divorce? Like, I don't understand, like, what she expected his reaction to be. Of course he's going to say hello to his wife.
Of course he's going to pretend like nothing happened. That's called an affair.
Right. So, that was terrible. Her reaction
to that never, like, watch a soap opera? It's just weird to me.
Oh, the other thing about Kat is they're on the dock with, like, the little girl.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the same. It wasn't the same scene because the little girl was with her. But I'm like, Kat, keep an eye on Phoebe. She's on the edge of the dock.
I didn't write it down. I had that same thought.
Like, you're her babysitter.
To the point where I was like, my middle-aged aunt was like, oh, did she drown?
Right? That's why they ended up having sex.
God.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's like the Mermaids thing. That movie.
Oh, exactly. Oh, my gosh. That's exactly right.
So... to be honest, my next notes are about the end.
Yeah.
I don't have too many notes because, to your point, like, it's a very agreeable movie. This is not... There are no big swings here.
No.
It's like this
a little
movie
bit of drama in each of the storylines.
I could enjoy this with a cup of tea.
Yeah, easily. And it just, they flow, each of the storylines flow into each other and all that. Yeah, I 100% agree.
The ending is... I loved the ending.
Yes, I did too.
But it's for a weird reason. I love that nothing all that major really happens. Like, there's no big moment. Like, even say, like, the climax of these stories, right? It's like, whatever. It's the breakup, it's the marriage, it's all that. But it's like, for example, you don't see Jojo and Bill get married, for real.
No.
You don't see Tim and Kat really end things. He just shows up, and it's all very underplayed for reasons we talked about earlier. And then even with Daisy and Charlie, he shows up with some sort of apology, and she makes him scoop ice cream. I feel like a weaker movie would have been like, Daisy, I'm here, and she jumps out of the pizza restaurant a window into his arms. You know what I mean? Or it ends with a big wedding, because it begins with a wedding and ends with a wedding. Right. But I love that it's all like, this is just life.
And
you know what?
100% agree.
We all have to we still have to work right now. So we're all, or they're doing the wedding reception or whatever. But it's like, it just felt real. And it didn't
so
feel big. It was nice.
I really, really enjoyed that part of it too. I loved how they just like have her face, and she's like, and nothing's going to change. And she's talking to Bill. Bill? Was that her name?
Is his name Bill? I think
so. And nothing's going to change. And he's like, accept your name. Accept my name. And like, I love that whole conversation that they have. And you're right. Another movie would have had like the big showdown. But I think it's even more, like, think about that. Like, if they had a big moment for all three of them,
it would have been exhausting.
It would have been horrible. Horrible. And if they had a big moment for one of them, it would have been uneven.
What about the other two? Yeah.
So I loved the way that they did it. Everything was sort of like a slow burn.
Yeah. And it's not even all that, like, neatly done. Like, Kat is still hurt. Daisy, has some issues with Charlie. And and Jojo is still going to have to get used to getting married.
Yeah.
So it was just, it felt like a very authentic ending.
It was great.
I liked it.
I loved it too. And I love that they're all helping her out. Like it seemed like a real reception.
Yes.
Like a community reception, right?
Totally.
Everyone, like Daisy's in her bridesmaid dress trying to scoop ice cream. It felt pretty real.
And then I like that she had Charlie. I just loved that.
I love that wasn't like, oh, I forgive you. And
right. I like that she put him to work. It's like, listen,
I'll
do
talk
this.
about it.
I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to go talk to my friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have any other notes? Because the big question is, especially for you, Christina,
no,
more, less, or about the same?
I think maybe about the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I liked it for other reasons. Like, I really loved... Jojo was so good in this. I really loved Jojo in this. And, of course, I mean, I didn't love Daisy as much. Not that I didn't really love Daisy to begin with, but the whole other thing.
So, for me, it's the same, but a little less, actually. Mm-hmm. But I think... But Julie, I disagree with you. I thought Julia Roberts was excellent. Mm-hmm. I really did. And I didn't
say Julia Roberts. I said Daisy.
And then
it's a difference. It's a difference.
Christina, please, we're almost wrapping up.
No, I don't want
to. We have our match game questions too. But no, I said I forgot how good she was, and I thought she did anger very well. Her angry scenes and yelling scenes, I thought were really a bit wow, Julia, where did that go? Bring some of that back to your current acting, right?
Less
little raw.
Laugh.
It was a little raw in this, and I liked it.
That's what I liked about it too. Yeah.
But also laugh a little less. but I wrote, this is cute. I said it's cute, it's harmless, and I said, but through my middle-aged lens, it does feel like a bit like the first episode of a TV show to me.
Sure, yeah, I can see
that. But it's still good. I liked it.
Yeah. And we should just remind everyone that on Patreon we have our selfie stories of our worst dates.
Ever.
And please, I think it's really fun.
Yes, and then this movie is available on Pluto TV.
It was on something else too. I because I didn't watch it on Pluto.
You said Roku? What is it called?
Oh, yeah, it was Roku.
Okay.
That's right. It was Roku TV. That's right.
So I have a match game.
Okay, me too.
Oh, you go first, because I think I went first last time. Yeah.
I'm so glad you're able to keep track of this stuff. Okay, so here's my question for you.
Okay.
So, Daisy, she has a really, really bad reputation, and everyone knows it.
How bad is it?
It's so bad that instead of a college application, her guidance counselor gave her an application for blank.
Ooh.
That's right. Bad reputation for that Daisy. Actually, I missed a word. It's kind of important. It's a reputation as a gold digger.
Oh, a gold digger.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I know it changes everything. Okay. It changes everything. I'm sorry.
Reputation as a gold digger.
I wrote this, just so listeners know, I wrote this question down on my notes in my phone, and the app crashed before I could save it. So I just had to remember what it was. So, yes. So it was. She has a reputation as a gold digger.
Okay.
And everybody knew it, so much so that when the guidance counselor, instead of giving her a college application, he gave her an application for blank.
Okay. I got it. All right. Ding.
Ding. All right, Brian, what did he give her an application for?
A job at the Playboy Mansion.
Oh, I love it. It's not a match.
Damn.
So the application that my guidance counselor gave her was an application for the Real Housewives of Mystic.
I like that. That's cute.
I knew you would like that.
All right, I have one. You ready? I like that question, Christina.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of this question that I came up with.
You were saying that, yeah. Okay. You had told me that earlier.
I was laughing as I was writing it. Christina, maybe Jojo is only in love with her husband's dick.
Junk.
Yeah. In her wedding vows, she promised to love, honor, and blank.
Oh, okay.
Good? Ding. Christina. And JoJo's...
You can go one of two ways on this.
Jojo's wedding vows. Maybe she is only in love with his dick. She promised to love, honor, and blank.
Blow! Yeah, one of two
That could have
ways.
gone. That could have gone a few ways for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so fun. Mystic Pizza.
Yeah. Oh, but wait, Christina. Wait.
What?
What does Leona put in her pizza?
Oh! let's get some guesses up on Patreon.
No, we're supposed to do the fake.
Oh, that was the ending.
Yeah.
And that's it for us in this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And please give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you're interested in more Old Roommates, including special episodes, bonus content, movie recommendations, and more, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com. That's patreon.com/oldroommates. Comments and ideas can be emailed to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Old Roommates.
Thanks again for listening. This is Christina.
And this is Brian. Until next time.